Well, welcome back. A touching moment from last night's Super Bowl that you might have missed. Just after the Bucs won, center Ryan Jensen and his son celebrated on the field, making it even more special. Jensen handed his helmet to the little guy. Oh, man, very sweet. Father-son moment right there.
Well, it seems like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be making a trip to the White House in the near future. The White House press secretary says that President Joe Biden invited the Bucs for a visit once it's COVID safe. The same invite goes for the Los Angeles Lakers, who won an NBA championship recently. There's been a lot of buzz around many of the Bucs' newcomers, like Tom Brady, but several longtime players have been waiting for years for their first Super Bowl victory.
Waiting patiently, Kevin Lewis and Kyle Berger are back with us, guys. There's a lot of credit to go around for last night's big win.
Yeah, Jameis, and speaking of those newcomers, every point the Bucs scored last night, from Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Fournette, even the kicker Ryan Suckup, they weren't on the roster last year. Of course, everyone's talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's one of the new kids on the block, but there are plenty of veterans on this Buccaneers team who've been through the football version of the ringer and could have jumped ship. Pardon the pun, Buccaneers jumped ship, but they didn't demand trades. They didn't want to get out of town. They stuck around. Guys like Donovan Smith, guys like Mike Evans, guys like linebacker Levante David. And them sticking around paid off with that Super Bowl championship. This morning, Brady said the best part about celebrating a 7th championship was being able to celebrate it with teammates who just earned their first.
It's a hard league, and these guys are good. These talented players, talented coaches. To see them celebrate our locker room, man, that was amazing. After the game, it was a moment I'll never forget.
To be at this moment, man, I realize everything that I've been through and that as an organization been through throughout the times, and to finally be here, man, all that hard work paid off, and I'm glad to be a world champion, man. You got to put that into my name every time. World champion, Levante David.
And David is the longest tenured Buccaneer, 9th year in the league, all with Tampa Bay. Probably the most undervalued / underappreciated defensive player in the league, and now he's a Super Bowl champ.
He finally has that championship. The team finally has the championship. Now the goal is for general manager Jason Licht to try to keep this team together and run it back and win it again next year. 6 of the team's core players are on track to become free agents. That includes Chris Godwin, David, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, AB, Leonard Fournette. Bruce Arians is confident that Licht can get it worked out so these players can all return next season.
I have all the trust in the world in Jason and what he will do. These guys, they have a bond, and there'll be dollars involved, but I think this group is so close that sometimes dollars don't matter, and but we're going to do everything we can to get the dollars right too, because they earned it.
And Bruce Arians went on to say that Mike Evans is such an unselfish player that he told us to use some of his money, if we need to rework the contracts to keep the team together. So everyone around here loves Mike Evans. The whole team loves him. The whole community does. So he's a good guy to keep around here as well. And he's working his way to a Hall of Fame career.
That's
Mike
right.
Evans is. Jameson?
Yeah, hopefully, guys, this is, not to be the wet blanket on a Monday after you win the Super Bowl, but this is going to be a tough year to kind of keep those guys around, that core intact. Usually after Super Bowls, guys take off and go for their payday somewhere else. Plus, we're talking a reduced cap year, too. So how likely is it that we can really retain everybody?
You have a lot of guys on 1-year contracts. I mean, Rob Gronkowski on a 1-year deal. Leonard Fournette, Shaq Barrett. To say that all of them would come back would be optimistic, I think. But I think, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you try to keep as much of that as you can. Rob Gronkowski has all but said he's coming back. He said there's a 3-week window after the season where he'll decide, but he wants to come run it back. It just depends on who is going to give a little, because in pro sports, like you said, the reduced cap year, and a guy like Mike Evans comes out and says, hey, take some of my money, literally take money out of my pocket to help keep this thing together. I think the right mentality is floating around there.
Yeah, Mike Evans is one guy that could do that, and Tom Brady, he hasn't said anything publicly about that, but in the past, he has done that with those teams with the New England Patriots.
Taking less all the time.
Exactly. So, I mean, he's got funds coming in from all kinds of different areas, from endorsements and things like that. So he's a guy who might do it. He hasn't said anything about it yet, but in the past, he has. So that could help out as well.
Yeah, he has done some team-friendly contracts in the past. All right, thank you, guys. Well, talking about paydays, how's this for a payday? Remember Mattress Mac? He's the Houston furniture mogul who placed a multi-million-dollar bet on the Buccaneers, and It clearly paid off for him. He put almost $3.5 million on the underdog Bucks. He's going to make about $2.7 million in profit. He is the Houston business owner. His customers are winners in this too. Anyone who spent $3,000 or more on one of his mattresses are now going to get them for free now that the Bucks have won. He's also the same owner who sheltered nearly 400 displaced residents during Hurricane Harvey, allowing them to stay and use his furniture stores to stay safe.
That's a nice
Bucks,
guy right
there,
right?
He really is. He really is a great community guy there. The Bucks' big win is driving fans straight to the team's training facility now, where the Fanatics pop-up merchandise shop is now selling Super Bowl championship gear.
And ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee was out there today checking out all the new merchandise and how you can pick up some swag without ever leaving your house.
There's no playing Monday morning quarterback today.
He brought a culture of winning to a team that was ready to win.
With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out victorious against the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 55, fans are buying up gear to show off the big win.
They got the championship jersey and the raise the flags as well.
Lines more than a dozen people deep are outside the Fanatics pop-up shop in the parking lot of the Bucs training facility. Go Bucs! Lifelong fans Richard and Elric Sharon are sharing in this moment together.
I'm a high school principal in Philadelphia right now, so I flew down to be with my family, to be with my brother and hang out and actually watch this historic event.
And online, folks are pre-ordering keepsake items to preserve the memory of this game. Many are limited editions and good as collectibles.
Based on previous sales, we're definitely trending toward a record hot market.
So what's the best seller? FOCO licensing director Matthew Katz says it's the Tom Brady bobblehead and the MVP bobblehead.
He's leading the charge like he did on the field.
A close second, the Super Bowl champion face coverings. Right behind that, Gronk's bobblehead. But Katz says there are things on the website for everyone.
Some people want a flag that they want to, wave in front of their house because they're super proud of the fact that their team won. Other people a little bit more subtle, and they just want something to put on their desk that makes them smile every day when they look back and remember the run that their team had.
Katz says the pre-ordered items, including the bobblehead, should ship by May or June. He says other items will likely be in stock shortly and ready to ship even sooner. Heather Lee, ABC Action News.
Heather, thank you. Well, the game is over, but crews are moving into high gear to handle all of the material used to make the Super Bowl come to life.
Yeah, and they're putting it all to good use. NFL Green builds partnerships within the community to repurpose material. We're talking decor, mesh material, fence wrap, and plywood. The Salvation Army says it's receiving napkins, bike covers, and street banners. Some it can use and some it can auction off. Habitat for Humanity says it's getting things like sheet wood and dismantled risers, which it can resell in its Habitat for Humanity restores. NFL Green says each year it looks to see what other materials it can reuse.
It's been a weekend of excitement for the Bay Area, but with all that fun comes this. Look at that. Video of huge crowds gathering in Ybor City, and many of them did not wear a mask. Those crowds are gaining national attention now and sparking real concerns about being a super spreader. ABC Action News reporter Ryan Smith is in South Tampa, where thousands partied well into the morning hours.
And what a difference a day makes. We were out here watching as thousands of fans were partying in the street here in Soho, standing shoulder to shoulder, most of them not wearing a mask. We finally had to get out of here because someone was throwing beer bottles into the crowd. Let's take you back there last night in Soho. Take a look at this video we took. This was just after midnight. No telling really how many people are in this crowd, thousands at least. They all filed out of several bars along South Howard Avenue following the game. The majority of them, as we documented, not wearing a mask. This is an area that requires people to wear one even when outdoors. Now, police did try to keep people out of the street, but that just did not work. Over in Ybor City, we watched as thousands packed together on 7th Avenue. Honestly, it looked like one massive dance party. Much to the frustration of business owners there, many bars closed up immediately following the game out of an abundance of safety. The mayor this morning, however, putting a positive spin on these celebrations.
And I'm proud to say that the majority of individuals that I saw out and about enjoying the festivities associated with the Super Bowl were complying. They understood their level of personal responsibility and they were doing the right thing.
Now, it is obvious, quite frankly, what the mayor said this morning simply does not match what you see when you look at these party scenes across the city of Tampa, not only outside the stadium, but also in those entertainment areas like Ybor and Soho. For several days now, we've been hearing from business owners frustrated and quite frankly fed up with city officials for not taking these crowds leading up to the Super Bowl seriously enough. We'll continue to press city officials for some solid answers on this. In Tampa, Ryan Smith, ABC Action News.
Meanwhile, before the Super Bowl, we asked one local health expert about his thoughts on COVID-19 precautions surrounding the big game. He said the NFL's plans were solid with requiring everyone to wear a mask and potted seating. But he was concerned about what happened outside the stadium as people traveled through the city and gathered.
I recall when we brought the Stanley Cup back to Tampa, the inside of the Ice Palace was, well managed, checkerboarded, but then outside in the streets, it was a fraternity party. That's where the activity that's dangerous for everybody occurs. And I think the NFL can't exert any control over that, but as individuals, we can.
Again, masks are required indoors in Tampa and outside in places where Super Bowl crowds may gather. And even though the big game is now over, that mask order is still in place until at least Saturday. We'll see if it gets extended. Still ahead, we're catching up with some of the healthcare workers invited to attend the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what they say this meant to them after a year on the front lines of COVID-19. Stay with us.